Hey everybody, it's Greg LaBeouf, and listen, welcome to Awaken the Protector Within. I got a great concept for you today I want to share, but before I do that, I want to ask you a question. You see, when we're talking about physical assaults, my question to you would be, what type of an assault are you going to face? What time of day is it going to happen? How many assailants are there going to be? Are they going to have weapons or no weapons? Are you going to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and wide awake? Or are you going to be woken from the dead sleep in the middle of the night from someone kicking in your front door? You see, if we talk about physical assaults, the mind automatically is going to create a list of questions. When is it going to happen? Where is it going to happen? How is it going to happen? All of these different things to which we have no answers. You cannot predict it. And if you have no answers to these important questions that can mean the difference between living and dying, you say, well, how do I prepare? It creates a stress and anxiety. The questions that cannot be answered. What type of an assault are you going to face? And we don't know. But here's what I want to share with you today. I want to share a concept that is called behavioral profiling. So the big question was this: what do good people do when a society's laws and institutions fail to keep them safe from aggression and violence? How do you get through a growing number of angry, hateful, aggressive people and still remain physically, mentally, and emotionally strong and positive? That was the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Greg LaBeouf, and welcome to Awaken the Protector Within. Okay, now listen, we set up that, one of the scariest things, one of the things that can cause us stress, fear, anxiety, all that type of stuff, is that we don't know the answer to a lot of very important questions. What type of an assault might we face one day? See, we understand in the world we live in that facing a physical threat from other members of our society is a strong probability. You see, anything is possible, but certain things are more probable. And facing a physical assault is probable. But here's the thing. What type of an assault? How many people? Am I going to have my kids with me, my wife with me? Is it just going to be me? Am I going to be injured at the time? Am I going to be awake and alert? Is it going to be, what's going to happen? Like, all this stuff creates the stress. But I want to put your mind at ease. You see, here's something that you already are very familiar with this concept, but I share with you called behavioral profiling. You see, in the beginning, it's very unnerving because there's all these questions you can't answer. But when you do this long enough, when you study it long enough, you can actually create a profile of assaults. So let's just make sure that everybody's on the same page. If we looked at how law enforcement uses behavioral profiling, if they have an individual they're trying to apprehend that has committed a series of crimes or on a crime spree or anything like that, they don't know who the individual is. They can't confirm and know for sure all of this information about this individual. If they had that, they would just go out and arrest the person, or at least they'd be looking for the right person. But what they do is they create a profile. You see, there are people out there that have actually studied the criminal element and studied human behavior and psychology and all these different things so much that when they look at a crime scene or they look at a behavior pattern, why somebody's doing something, the way that they leave a crime scene, the way that they are choosing victims or targeting people and all this type of stuff, all of those provide the right set of eyes, the right filter. They provide valuable information that you can then build a profile around. So law enforcement can literally develop a profile that says, we know that this suspect is most likely between the ages of X and Y. We know that they probably work this type of a job. They most likely drive this type of a vehicle. They're most likely involved in these types of hobbies, or they belong to these types of chat groups, or they are introverted or extroverted, or they would most likely have this, they're most likely that. They literally can start to figure out details that paint a picture. Now, why is profiling so important? Profiling is very important and a very valuable tool simply because it allows you, imagine if you have a case to solve and you have 1,000 tips coming in. You don't have the manpower or the hours in a day to go through every single tip. So you must have some sort of a standard, some sort of a basis that you can look at these tips and that you can contrast it against. And you can say, oh, here's these 50 tips or these 100 tips. All are saying a similar thing, but if we look at our profile, all of those are outside of 5 of the 10 parameters within our profile. So guess what? You would deprioritize that tip. That makes sense? It wouldn't mean that you completely ignore it. You would deprioritize it. You would first look at the tips that met the 10 criteria on your profile. So all of these tips are within our age range. They are within our gender. They are within our work disciplines. They are within our vehicle types. They are within our hobbies and interests. They are within proximities of location we believe the person to live or operate in. All of these things, you need some sort of a base to start going from a needle in a haystack. You have to be able to start coming down to some sort of resolution, to some sort of focused energy to start moving forward. And I think you probably understand this, but most times those profiles are very, very accurate. They're actually surprisingly accurate. Okay, so listen, how does this pertain to us when it comes to an assault? When people come to us because there is a fear, there's a worry, there's pain and suffering. They have recognized that there's a possibility, not just possible, there's a probability that they may find themselves in a situation facing a physical threat, or that they might find their kids in that situation, their wife, their spouse. They want to be able to do something. But again, we get overwhelmed and say, well, what do I need to do? We're looking for a solution to a problem that we can't even answer questions to. When is it going to happen? If there's going to be 3 of them or 5 of them, how much bigger are they going to be? What if they have skill sets? What if they have weapons? That's the wrong way. And what we need to be able to do is say, listen, that's like having those 1,000 tips. If you just have all these questions bouncing around in your head that you have no answer to, you're going to drive yourself, you're going to do one of 2 things. A, you're going to cause so much stress, anxiety, and fear in yourself that you're going to overwhelm your system. Or you know what you're going to do? Nothing. You won't do anything. You'll stall out. I've met many people that I've talked to that are like, I've always wanted to do something. I always wanted this, but they don't do anything. And why? A big part is because they're stalled out, because they don't really understand the profile of what an assault is. They don't really understand what's going to happen in it. So they can't find a solution. They can't say, well, I don't know what I would take. I don't know what I should do. I don't know where to look or to begin to research, because they don't know the answer to all these questions. So let me share this with you. Let me give you the profile. It's one of the first things we do is we share with everybody the anatomy of an assault, or the profile of people that commit these types of assaults and violent acts. Now, I want to share this because the profile I'm going to share with you, there's 5 elements to this. And we could go very deep in this, and I'm not going to go that deep, obviously, in the time-sensitive podcast here. But what I am going to share with you is 5 elements. I want you to understand that violence is a sliding scale. It can be one sense, it can be very low level, and it can be verbal. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have, cause pain and suffering in us. I'm just saying that it does not go physical. So you can have verbal all the way up to extreme acts of terror. Okay, so I want you to understand that this profile, you will look at this profile and understand that people that commit acts of violence and aggression and bullying and tormenting, this 5 elements will be within that. Here is what they will want to do to you. So let's jump into this. Okay, so element number 1, the first thing is that they want to overwhelm. Assailants want to overwhelm. And how do they want to overwhelm? They want to overwhelm, let's go low level. They want to overwhelm you with their words. You get people that get verbally assaultive, and what they do, they start talking louder and they start talking faster, and they're swearing and they're doing all these different things, but they're moving their body fast, and they're in and out of your space, and they're doing all this stuff. They're trying to overwhelm you. Because if they can overwhelm your system, they know that they have a better chance of getting you to submit. That way they gain the posturing advantage. They profit from that because they've gotten you in a reactive state. You submit, and now they have dominated and they have won. So they will try to overwhelm you. If you go higher to the physical end of it, of course, they're going to want to overwhelm. How do they want to overwhelm in a physical assault? They want to overwhelm you by rushing you fast. Imagine, even just one large individual that swarms you really fast, that just, comes in with lots of sudden movements, lots of pressure, and they're in your face, and they're pushing you, and they're on top of you, and they're moving fast, and all that type of stuff. You're very overwhelmed. Even if they're actually physically not causing you a lot of damage, your system feels overwhelmed. You can't process fast enough. So we get that they want to overwhelm. The second thing that they want in a profile you need to understand about assaults is that they will try to overpower. Now, overpowering is slightly different than overwhelming. They work great in combination together, but what's overpowering? Sometimes you can have an individual who's the exact opposite. Let's go verbal again. Instead of that individual overwhelming you with their words and you're in their face and they're talking fast and they're moving fast and they're all up there trying to overwhelm your system, they actually are very calm and they say nothing. There are very few words come out of their mouth, but they have a size to them. And that size, they step right in and go forehead to forehead. Or they reach out and they grab over a counter and they grab hold of your hand. Or they grab hold of your backpack or your purse or your jacket and they pull you in, or they push you away, or they hold you in place. And you see how that becomes overpowering. They use their physical size and presence and strength to overpower you. And when you feel this size and strength and you feel the prowess of this individual who has bad intentions, you become overpowered. So there's overwhelmed, and they will try to overpower you. The third thing is, if they can, they will outnumber you. So many assailants and so many assaults, they want the deck stacked in their favor. And if there's any opportunity for them to have mass numbers, to have superior numbers to you, they will use this. And you think, if I'm out and I'm out with my kids and my wife, and it's not one person that comes up to me, but it's 3. It's 3 gentlemen that have physical prowess and size. So now all of a sudden the 3 of them, their numbers alone begin to overwhelm my system. If you didn't have the training, it could overwhelm your system. That show of force, the having the numbers, contributes to them overpowering me. So now all of a sudden they have fulfilled 3 of the 5 profile elements that I understand about a violent assault that tells me I am in some danger here. They are overwhelming, overpowering, and outnumbering. The fourth element is that if at all possible, they will out-equip you. Now, what does that mean? They will use inanimate objects, whether they are designed or expedient, they will use them to help overwhelm and overpower, to help intimidate, to help give them an advantage. So, why I said designed or expedient, you could have one very large person walk by, picks up a stick off the ground. Now, why did he pick that up? Because he wants to out-equip me. Whether he is consciously aware of it or not, he will have to fulfill the behavioral profile. And people know that if they picked up that club, even if he was 100 pounds heavier than me, he would pick something up, pick up a club, pick up a bottle, pick up a rock. Why would he do this? Because subconsciously he wants to make sure that he wins and I lose. He doesn't want to enter into a lose-lose situation. The first thing they want to do when they go crisis is they want to get you without getting hurt. It's part of the escalation cycle. So they will try to out-equip you. Many people out there, they arm themselves. They carry knives. They carry firearms. Doesn't matter if it's legal or illegal. They're going to carry them. Why? Because you have people out there that have bad intentions, and these people are going to fulfill a profile of an individual that would commit an assault. So they will try to overwhelm you. They will try to overpower you. They will definitely try to outnumber you when all possible, and they will out-equip you. Now, if they don't have the numbers, if you got one lone attacker and he doesn't have the numbers, what do you think he's going to do within that profile? Is he going to try to overwhelm you quicker, get the element of surprise and get the drop on you? Yeah. Is he going to try to overpower you very rapidly? Yes. And what would he do? Probably want to out-equip you. He'd probably invest in getting himself a taser, something that isn't even legal in Canada, so that he could use that to get you. He'd probably pack a knife. He'd probably pack a gun. He'd do something to try to overwhelm and overpower and intimidate you by out-equipping you. It just makes sense, right? So now that's number 4. What's the fifth thing? If they can, they will outposition you. See, they will outposition you. And what do I mean by that? If you have those mass numbers, they will want to try to surround you. They will want to try to wait for a moment in time when they have a positional advantage. When they have line of sight, they can see you coming before you can see them. That is a smart way to jump out at somebody. Why? Because if you can hide and see them coming, and when you jump out, what have you done? You've just overwhelmed that person. You have just contributed to overpowering them. You've made it easier. You can actually be smaller and weaker, but if you get the outpositioning element down right and you jump out and grab somebody, guess what? You are overpowering somebody because they are in reaction, and there is no reaction faster than that person's action. Now, if you also decided to out-equip somebody and brought that along as well too, you can just see where you start to stack the deck. So these 5 elements of overwhelm, overpower, outnumber, out-equip, and out-position, this is what you're going to face. I don't need to know what time of day it's going to happen. That'd be sweet. But I don't need to know it, because what I know about violence, the profile that I have, is I know what they are going to want to do. I know what they are going to need to do to make a successful assault. You see, I'm just less concerned about knowing the time of day or the date or how many there's going to be or what they're going to have or what they're going to try to do or the way it's going to go down or who's going to be with me and stuff. It's okay. I can't answer those questions, but I understand what they're going to have to do. And so when I'm out and my filter goes off, my threat perception goes off, and I see or experience, and I got some bad feelings off 2 or 3 guys, I understand to watch for it. All of a sudden, right away, I'm going, well, listen, there's already 3 of them. They've already got me outnumbered. Okay, so I can start taking actions to try to mitigate their numbers. I can sit there and watch what they're doing and see how one stands up and approaches me and the other 2 start drifting wide as if they're maybe going to be circling behind me, and say right away, okay, they already have me outnumbered and now they're trying to outposition me. Nope, can't take that. I cannot let them fulfill the 5 elements of that behavioral profile. If I let them go 5 elements without me having taken a response to that, then it's just an uphill, it's a harder battle. But you see how this allows me to recognize that this gives me things to focus on. Then a way I can start scanning the palms of their hands and looking at the type of clothing they're wearing and saying, listen, could they or are they possessing weapons? Are they trying to out-equip me? Do they have me out-equipped? What equipment do I have on me? Do I have something on me that allows me to defend myself? Do I have all that different stuff? So, and then we can look at it and say, oh, you know what they want to do? He's trying to talk his way in, or he wants to do this, or he's escalating up. He's trying to overwhelm me with his words, or they're trying to intimidate with the physical presence. I've had guys stand in front of me and they take their jackets off, and it's cold. Why are you taking your jacket off? You're not taking your jacket because you don't want to grab. You took your jacket off because you're wearing your little brother's T-shirt. So it's nice and tight on you, so it shows off your rippling muscles, and you wanted me to see the $10,000 of ink you got tattooed all over your body because that should somehow intimidate or overwhelm or overpower my system. Do you understand how this game is played? But there's a profile. And now what I want you to get is here's an even easier concept. All 5 of those elements, overwhelm, overpower, outnumber, out-equip, and out-position, all of that, they try to do what? One thing. They try to blitz you. They try to blitz your system. This is where we start our training from, is saying here's the 5 elements, understand this, see these elements, know them, recognize them for what they are. But all of that is going to accumulate into one thing. They're going to try to blitz. They want to get into action fast. They want to get into action, thrust you into reaction. They want to overwhelm, overpower, overpressure. Overwhelm, overpower. They want to outnumber. They want to out-equip, and they want to out-position you because all of those things synergize their blitz. That's like turning around and saying, listen, you got the quarterback. I want to sack the other team's quarterback. Well, how great would it be if I could knock down his linemen and say, let's take these guys. These guys are defending him. This is going to make it harder for me to sack him. Let's take these out. If I got rid of them, it's going to be easier. If the individuals are allowed to, put these 5 elements of the behavioral profile, the assailant profile, if they were able to accomplish all 5 of those things and we didn't see it, recognize it, or then be able to put in our countermeasures, it's going to increase their ability to get me. It's going to synergize all those effects. So listen, I know we could go deeper with this. I'm going to cut this here today. I wanted to share this with you because it's great food for thought. It puts some aha moments in your head, but you don't have to worry about not being able to answer all of the questions for when, where, how, what, why, all that type of stuff. You need to understand that there is a profile that all assailants will have to follow and will try to follow, because if they can get those 5 elements in play, it's going to make it easier to victimize you. But we have studied this. This is our domain. We understand this. We see this, and we have the countermeasures for this. All right, everybody, I hope you got something out of that today. Listen, until next time, as always, please stay safe, stay ready. Want to awaken your protector within? If so, then head to awakentheprotectorwithin.ca and get your free Off the X training today.